And welcome everyone to the Race Spec Elite Series on the PlayStation 4. We are here in Brazil for the penultimate round of Season 1's Championship. Today we have 11 races and most of them are currently in the pits as qualifying has just started, as you can see on your screen. 17.5 minutes left. Should be a very interesting race day. One of the shortest laps on the calendar, but one of the trickiest, I think. Quite a lot of oversteer here in my experience as you were trying to get through some of the tricky corners. You also need a fair bit of speed on the back straight as you go past the checkered flag. So a very technical and tricky one for everyone to contend with. And a lot of penalties can be picked up here as well, as they are very strict as you go through the center S just after the start finish line. We have two on their outlap now, four in fact. Tosta, Pete, Crichton, VRT, Shepalele, Eye Contrast are out on the track. We are following Eye Contrast first in the Ferrari as he goes around performing his outlap, getting a look at the track. He's gone straight out onto the softs, it appears. And we see a few others will be coming out very shortly. Swaggy's still in the pits. Todd's in the McLaren today. And he'll be coming over for his initial lap. And we'll get a bit of a viewpoint from Toddster here, the first one to go through the semi-serious lap. Just to put a time on the clock for everyone to have a look at here. So coming down the first main straight. You want to go right down into fourth. Probably want to go over a bit more curve than that on the left, but you need a good exit here as you get a nice long entry into this high G-force right-hander. You want to keep the minimum speed up before slotting right down to a low gear. And this is a frustrating part of the track when you're a driver. You want to go faster, but any faster and you will in fact lose time. You need to keep it very slow, very smooth through this third sector. And it's important to get a very nice exit out of this corner, especially as it is a very long high speed back straight as you cross the finish line. We're expecting something around a minute or just over. Let's see what Toddster can put on the board for us straight away. A 1 minute 8.99. I expected a few to go a little quicker. There's Pete there with a 1 minute 8.5 for his first. Eye Contrast may be far away. He's actually getting a bit of a drag from Miku here, so this could be an alright time depending on what he did previously. It's 108.6, so just behind Pete in the Mercedes. Miku now looks like he is on his lap. And he's actually gone out on the mediums to kick us off. We'll bring up what tyres have been fitted. The only one to go out in medium so far. In the Williams. Quite temperamental on the tracks, Miku. We've seen him be extremely quick on some tracks and a little bit off the pace on some others. Can't wait to find out how fast he is here in Brazil. We've got Swaggy here today and Spilly. Currently in the pits. It looks like Spilly's looking to come out on the mediums. Plebs is on track at the moment, and John Polainen as they'll resume their battle for those places at the top of the standings. No 40 here today to help Renault in those driver standings. So this is a good opportunity for Haas to peg that back and go into the final round with a chance to win the Constructors. But I expect a close fight again between John Polainen and Plebs as Miku gets out of the way. There's probably someone behind him there. John Polainen is still in the pits. Here's Plebs, who just dropped the time of 108.7 on the softs. So everyone getting in reasonably quick times on their first lap, so that they're a little bit more comfortable later on in qualifying. They can push a little harder, put things on the limit. And if they come off, at least they have a time on the board. We are still waiting for over half the field to put a time on the board though. As Plevs just slowing down to maybe do another lap or come in the pits. Not sure how much fuel he had on board there. Bumblebee yellow of the Renaults. It looks like an okay day in Brazil. We don't know what the weather will be tomorrow in Brazil for the race. Hopefully a dry track, although wet does throw up a few little curveballs. Not too many out on track at the moment. Looks like Todster's back out on an outlap. We have Spilly here on the mediums in the racing point. His helmet suiting the car. So matchy today is Spilly. Go on board with him and see if he is going to try for a lap. He doesn't have a time yet. Actually possible that this is a level 65% ERS. I don't think so. This will be the start of his lap, so we'll stay on board with Spilly as he looks to put a time on the board. On the mediums though, we have to keep that in context. Chapelele's put a 108.8 down on mediums, which is... Oh, and Spilly's gone around, managed to keep it out of the wall, so no damage. He may be able to, depending how much fuel he has, get himself back on the track, save up some ERS and go again. Managed to get out of the way. Oh no, that was in the pit lane. Someone coming out again. So Spilly will need to gather up his thoughts before he goes for another lap. We've got Crossy. This is the first time we've seen Crossy here today. In the Toro Rosso. Looks like he's on the softs. Let's just see what's going on with that helmet there. Very colourful. He's coming down. This will be his hot lap. He's got the space helmet going on. And stay on board with him as he will cross the line. And he will be our 7th person to put a time on the board, a 108.7. That'll put him in 3rd place at the moment, which is not a bad time to bank on the board. Pete Crichton is out on the track at the moment, our fastest driver. He's doing another hot lap. Starter up so we can see he is quicker at the moment by 0.2, so this could be another fastest lap. By contrast, has gone fastest, so Pete will need to go fastest to regain his pole position for the moment, and I think he's going to be able to do it. Staying close to the wall on the left, and he does a 108.292, so it's starting to hot up here in Brazil as more and more drivers put on a bit of a show, and these times are tumbling down at the moment as I contrast. At 108.4, that's not a bad time. And it's a bit of a marker for everyone else at the moment. Still to put in a time, Swaggy, Dr. Dre, 3000, and John Polainen. John Polainen's got mediums. Are we going to see another John Polainen special here where he does an alternate strategy and gets the jump on everyone? Been one of the highlights of Season 1 of the Elite Series is some of the tricks that John Polainen's been able to pull out of the hat. Not just a rabbit, but a few podiums as well from the back of the grid. A memorable one was Azerbaijan, and there was one other, I don't recall the track, but if we go back through the archives, I'm sure we will be able to relive some of those great moments from this season. still on board with Pete, who will probably come into the pits. So let's go with someone who's doing a little bit more of a meaningful lap. So most of our drivers are currently in the pits at the moment. Chapalele's is on an out lap, and we haven't had a look at him so far. We'll go on board with him as he commences his lap. And we'll see if some of these drivers are putting in some other lines at Brazil, or if they're all following quite similar. And one of the good things about this Brazilian track is that the setups are quite different. If you go to the time trial leaderboard and check out the setups that the leaders are going with, there's quite a variation in setups. Some are going very low downforce on the front wing, even 1.8 on the front and the back. And then you have others doing quite fast times as well with a 4.5 or something similar. So there is quite a variation on what wing setups you can run, what roll bars you can run. Most people have the rear roll bar quite stiff because you need to turn in on corners like this one here. Get right down to the second gear before moving yourself up. So there is a fair bit of variation. Even temperatures you can vary. When I was looking at the leaderboards before, from very high to quite low, how that translates over into the race, you would need to check out. You don't want to cook your tyres here too quickly. And what time is Chapalele going to put? He's on pole, so that was a very fast lap. It was quite clean while I was talking. No mistakes really, and 108.136 is our latest time. So we have just over 5 minutes. You may be able to hear the thunder in the background. I'm commentating from Melbourne, Australia, and as you may know, we have 4 seasons in one day, and they've been quite extreme recently, from bushfires to many thunderstorms. In fact, we are getting floods on the back of the bushfires at the moment. So if the stream does drop out, that is probably from the electrical storm going on around me at the moment. We'll focus on Brazil, where the weather is quite nice. And Chapalele is coming in. We need to see someone who is on a hot lap. Crossy's about to cross the line. Ironically, is he going to... No, he's dropped out. He must have been way too far down, and he's going to buy himself some more time. So most people are in the pits because we do have 5 minutes left. Miku is out at the moment, and we have Pete out at the moment, and he's currently trying to go faster, so let's stay on board with him, as he's very smooth there. And as I was saying before, patience is the key of this track. You want to be smooth, not so much fast. You need good exits, and the way to do that is by being smooth. And a little lock up, that's not too smooth, touching the grass there as well. You can lose a lot of time by getting the wrong exit out of the previous corner, or you do the slow left-hander. Another little lock-up. Using all of the curves, and it's important here to accelerate quickly out of that last corner, because it's such a long straight. If you make an error on that last corner, it costs you time over the whole distance, and he's going to go in because he is going to get himself a fresh set of tyres, I believe, before they all start heading out. So Plevs, he's out early, and here we go. This will be Plevs' flying lap to stay on board with the Renault driver. Top of the standings at the moment. No, he's fooled me as well. Does he have enough time to get in and out of the pits? We'll just wait and see. Swaggy in the Alfa Romeo. We haven't looked at him today, and he's got himself all out of sorts and straight into the wall. Fortuitous for us viewing at home to see that happen, but that's going to be the end of his day. He's not going to have enough time to get a lap on the board. He will be near the back of the grid. Dre is also at the back without a time, so we'll wait and see what's going to happen with those Australians coming out now. So he's going to set his time now, putting all the pressure on himself for this one hot lap. Crossy's on an out lap now as well. It is a quick lap, as I said before, so you still do have time to get out of the pits and get around to start their fast lap when we do have 2 minutes and 41, and the times they're setting are in the 1:08s. If you're doing a slower lap, 1:09, 1:10. So plenty of time for our drivers here today to get around and start their hot lap and put that last one in on the limit. Chapalele still holding that coveted pole position at the moment from Pete Crichton. And Dre is going to start his lap. We'll stay with him as he's one of the first. Oh, no, he won't. Onto the grass, and he will start last. As he may be actually, if he can get it going, he may be able to put a lap in because he still has enough ERS. So he may be able to save this one. He didn't hit the wall. No, he's going straight in. He knows that in the Elite Series, the times are finite or close together, and any little slip up can just put you straight to the back. Billy has put a time on the board in 9th at a 1:37, and that's going to be good enough to get in 9th at the moment. And here we go with Crossy in the Toro Rosso. He hasn't been able to go faster. By contrast is on his hot lap. He's got cars coming out around him as we speak. Let's stay on board. Now he needs to go quicker if he wants to get himself higher than the second row of the grid. Not too shabby at the moment, but let's see what he can do. And I think he's bailed. He has bailed on this lap. Now we got Miku doing his hot lap. See what he's able to do in the Williams. A few others still on their out laps, so we will cycle through them as they proceed to go across the finish line, as Pete just started his, so we will cross to him shortly. And this isn't looking too bad for Miku. Let's see what the split is when it comes up for sector 2. Very smooth around that corner as well. And he is just in front, so if he can keep this up, he may be able to get himself up into 4th, because eye contrast is not that much further ahead of him. Let's see what he is able to do. And he goes second. Wow, he made up a lot of ground coming out of that last corner. Crossy's crashed. Pete Crichton... Well, Crossy's gone into the pits. Pete Crichton, let's see what he's able to do. He's now in 3rd place, so this needs to be better for him as well. Right on the limits, these guys using all of the track, and he gets himself no higher than 3rd. So Miku's put in a bit of a blinder there. In fact, he's only a couple of hundredths of a tenth off Chapalele, who is still out there as well. In fact, we're on board with him now, and he's now into sector 3, so we missed that split. But what's he able to do? I think eye contrast might be ahead from there. Is he able to get higher? No, eye contrast stays where he is. Chapalele, same time. Who else have we got still flying? Plebs, is he able to fly up into the front of the grid? It's going to be a mystery for the moment as we wait and see. 6th, no, he's stuck in 6th. So, mixing it up right at the end there, and I said during the telecast, is this one of Miku's favourite tracks? I'm going to say yes, as he bangs in a 1:08.189. Get himself on the front of the grid with Chapalele. And it's an international affair on the front of the grid. Then we have a bunch of Australians behind those two with Pete, Crossy, Eye Contrast, Plebs, and Todster. John Polainen only doing mediums, so he definitely wants to do that alternate strategy and wants to use those softs near the end of the race. Billy, he'll have to start on the softs as well, and Swaggy and Dre didn't get some times in turning their cars around, as we saw, and getting on the grass, and in one case into the wall. So quite an eventful qualifying, as everyone was leapfrogging themselves and each other during that, so it was quite entertaining near the end there, and I didn't expect Miku to go so much quicker in that third sector. We'll be right back with you after this short break. And we will see you hopefully back here for the Brazilian Grand Prix with Race Spec, Esports, and the Elite Series. And I'd like to welcome everyone back to what appears to be a nice day in Brazil for our race. We're on the formation lap at the moment, and if you missed qualifying, Chapelele dominated most of the qualifying, but the surprise driver for today was Miku in the Williams, jumping everyone on the last lap, and he appears to be disappointed in the chat that he didn't give himself pole. Maybe he made a couple of mistakes that he's aware of, and he could have gone a little quicker, but second and on the front row is not too shabby and nothing to complain about. We also have Pete Crichton, who might be disappointed with third, has been right up the pointy end for most of the season. Crossy, high contrast plebs, down there in sixth. He's got some work to do from there. Toddster Jumperlinen, our alternate strategy specialist. I'm starting to think he might believe his own hype and just be doing it all the time now. We have Spilly, Swaggy and Dre didn't set times as they had a lot of difficulty getting around the track in a quick manner. Just going to bring up what tires everyone. So Swaggy's starting on the mediums and Dre has gone hard, so he's looking to go very long on this first stint. Being at the back of the grid, he might be able to keep himself out of trouble around that first corner. And let's get ourselves ready. There's a beautiful shot there of all the flags at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Such an iconic racetrack. Many Ayrton Senna fans looking for their next Ayrton Senna. No one's been able to deliver quite like him. And they need another Brazilian in F1. But at the moment, are we cheering on Chapelele and Miku at the front of the grid? Let's get ready for the Brazilian Grand Prix, as lights will be going up very shortly. Here we go. 2, 3 lights, 4 lights. A little bit of that. Lights are out, and everyone's got a good start there. The Ferrari peeling out at the back. Looks like the Williams got a good start. Chapelele's going to hold on to the lead. Going through the center S's, it doesn't look like there's any drama at the back of the grid so far. Everyone's keeping it nice and tidy. Plebs looks like he got shoved off the track a little bit there on the left, but he's managed to keep it going. And it looks like Mercedes is just weaving a little bit there, trying to get some heat into those tires. Not up to the temperature he wants them to be at the moment, but a very clean start from everyone, and no one's really made any big gains. Toddster's moved up 2 places, Spilly up 2, Swaggy up 2. The big loser there was iContrast, who's right at the back. And I do wonder if he has damage. And we're not able to see from that angle. We're getting a bad angle from everyone. Alright, we're on cameras as we come around. This is such an iconic camera angle here. Talking of camera angles, as it looks like iContrast made a move on Jumper Line, and then has he made that stick? I think so. He's made that stick. So Jumper Line and on those medium tires struggling a little bit as iContrast starting to come back. But the story here is that everyone has slotted right into position, into formation, and Chapelele has held on to his race lead with that great start. And we've just lost a little bit of engine noise there as we are so far away from the cars. But Chapelele keeping it nice and clean. Plevs is looking to get himself up as we'll go through the grid a bit further here. It is one of those races that can be difficult to pass anywhere apart from that massive back straight and just coming out of the center S's. And Todstar, he started well. In fact, the McLaren driver there, he managed to get himself past Plebs. And Dr. Dre's already falling quite a bit behind. He's 1.5 seconds, but he is on those hards. So he's going to go long, but I don't think that strategy is paying out for him at the moment. And in fact, it might not be paying out for Jumpalainen either, who may be been bitten off a bit more than he can chew. A bit too ambitious on this one because he's 1.2 seconds behind our contrast already as well. So he's going to have a lot of ground to make up when he does switch to those soft tyres near the end of the race. Let's head back up to the front. And Chapelele is building a little bit of a gap now on Miku, 0.8. If he can get it out of that DRS zone, he may just skate away here. Long way to go though, 36 laps of the Brazilian Grand Prix. We're only on lap 3. DRS is enabled. Miku may have been able to break that on Pete, so Pete is really struggling here. We saw him weaving at the start after the race start, trying to get heat into those tyres. And he's actually got a penalty, so he's the first one to get a penalty. Really struggling to get that Mercedes balanced. And Chapelele with the fastest time. I don't think anyone will be beating that on this lap. And no overtakes, even with the DRS. I didn't notice any overtakes on that lap. As we see the wing open for Crossy in the Red Bull. Got a little bit of a gap on Todstar, a little bit of breathing room. The story here though is Pete cannot keep up with Miku at the moment. I don't believe he has any damage. He's just really struggling. And he may be looking to switch tyres sooner rather than later. As we'll go on board with him as he tries to catch up to these lead two. Have some real pace here in Brazil. Miku and Chapelele now looking through the field. Our contrast is right on the back of Swaggy. But Pete won't have any DRS there. Our contrast will though. And let's see what he's able to do. He is after Swaggy down the main straight. Might not be close enough here. There's the DRS turns on. Is he going to be close enough to make a move? It doesn't look like he got a good enough exit out of the last corner. And he didn't. Oh, we've got a lot of lag and jumping around there as we saw the cars jump into each other. That was a little bizarre. Just struggling with a bit of lag, Swaggy and our contrast. And Swaggy's dropped away a little bit from Spilly, and Spilly is dropping away from Plebs as well. Our contrast got the move done on Swaggy. Swaggy went off the track, that's why. And now he's going to struggle. He's on the mediums as well, so it's one of those tracks where a lot of people are making mistakes. And the gaps are starting to widen up throughout the field. Plebs has got a little break there, and the bigger these gaps get and that DRS isn't able to be switched on, if you can't open the letterbox, it's very hard to send some mail down the inside. And that's the story at the moment. If everyone can get out of DRS range, out of that second, they won't be able to do much. As Todstar looks like he's going to have a look at Crossy down this main straight. He has the DRS open. No, he's not too far away. I think Crossy had DRS as well. And Miku's caught up to Chapelele. So here's a bit of a story now. Is Miku going to challenge for the lead of this race? And there'd be a few thoughts going through the helmet of Miku in that Williams now, radioing back to his engineer, no doubt, trying to work out a strategy. Possible he might be able to undercut him here. And I'm sure the Ducks and Drakes are out and people are moving those chess pieces around, trying to work out when to pit, because can be difficult to overtake here, so you can overtake in the pits. All the better for it. Still within half a second. Our contrast is now moving up back through the grid, so after that shocker of the first couple of few corners, he's moving up and he could be in range of Spilly here. But just stay on board for this one. As Miku was too far away to make the pass. Crossy is very close to Pete as well. Pete really struggling, 1.5 seconds behind now, and another person who's struggling, who's on our championship radar, is John Polainen, down in 10th place, 2.5 seconds behind Swaggy now, who's 1.2 seconds beyond our contrast. Our contrast very close to the back of the racing point, and he'll be trying to stay as close to that gearbox as he can, so when he comes around the final corner, if he can get good drive, he'll be able to use DRS to get past, although everyone has started to bunch up again. I'm wondering if Chapelele is slowing down a little bit and it's causing a few of these guys to bunch back up because they're all going to have DRS. And as we come around here, we see by contrast, he's going to have a look at Spilly here. And Swaggy's out. Swaggy's out of the session. It looks like he's crashed out. So Swaggy's done. We're down to 10. And yeah, Eye Contrast really struggling to get the exit speed that a couple of these other guys have. Pete's got another 3-second penalty, and he's one of the only ones that I've seen pop up to get penalties. So he is really struggling now. A 6-second penalty is huge at this point of the race. We still have so many laps left. We're only on lap 8 of 36. And what's also interesting, he's had no ERS in the tank at the moment. So really struggling to keep up with Miku. He has a full bank of ERS to use, and he might be choosing to use that very shortly to get the lead of this race, as he is right behind the Haas of Chapelele. And is he going to get it done here? Let's follow them round this final corner. You can get a good exit here. It might be on. We're on board. T camera. Thank you in the pink helmet. Not close enough this time. Not close enough. But the pressure is on Chapelele here, and we've seen how easy it is to make little mistakes, and he's just keeping that pressure on. It mounts every single lap, and eventually the chance of making that mistake gets higher and higher. And going back through the field, everyone's still within a second. Our contrast is very close to Spilly now. He's harassing him on every corner, and it's up to Spilly now to hold on to this. Oh, and Eye Contrast peels out, and that was not advised, not at that corner, and now he is off the track, up the grass. John Polainen's going to pass him as well, and that just did not look like a good place to overtake. You can't expect too many people to leave you room when you dive through there, and it looks like he's had a bit of a hissy fit and retired from the session. So it's now Chapelele still in front, Miku chasing him down. And Pete's into the pits. We thought that would happen. Luke's been struggling on those softs the whole time, using all of his ERS just to keep up with Chapelele and Miku. And let's see what he goes on to here. And he goes on to the mediums. So medium tyres. They will hopefully last him to the end of the race, maybe. Or a two-stopper. He might be ambitious to go the end of the race from here on the mediums. But we have seen a few miracles pulled off from these drivers before. So we will wait and see with bated breath as to what the strategies are today. One person, and Spilly's out. Spilly's out. We've missed a crash from Spilly while watching that pit stop of Pete Crichton. And he's out too. We're down to 8 drivers. And Dre on those hards, he'll be the one who'll be looking for a one-stopper today, that's for sure. But some good points for Dre if he can just stay in the race now. And Miku's still harassing Chapelele, and they go around again, so he is really looking for the undercut now, as Chapelele and Miku are going to stay out again. And Crossy's now 2.2 seconds behind these front two. So the battle for the lead is really just between these two. And then we have a mini battle behind that with Crossy, Toddster and Plebs all in close proximity to each other. Jumpalainen's now 6.4 seconds behind Plebs. So I am interested to see what Jumpalainen's going to do here. And how much he'll be able to peg this back when he changes to the alternate tyres to what everyone else is currently on. He always throws up something intriguing for us to watch, and that is no exception today. And in terms of overtaking at the moment, Plebs is not able to get it done. He's been following Toddster for quite a while now. And at the moment it does look like Miku and Chapelele are going around again. So this is what we're going to watch now, is how much of an undercut is Pete getting from pitting so early off those softs. Clearly was not happy with them. So now we have to wait and see for these front two to pit and to where those positions change and shift up. As Toddster's getting around Crossy, is he, as they go side by side. There's a little bit of room, a little bit of elbows out here. And they're still going. Crossy's still trying to make this back off Toddster, who's done well, and he's going to hold that position, it looks like. Done really well. And now Crossy, because of that battling, is under pressure from Plebs. And is he going to be able to take advantage of this? But what this does do is gives those front two a little bit more of a gap. They're now 3 seconds ahead of the next little pack here. We're duking it out. He's gained himself a little bit of a gap there. Nice little gap. He plans to use all of the paint there on the right before coming down into the center S's. If you get yourself a good angle, save yourself a lot of time. You got to use the curves on both of those without copping too many penalties. And Toddster is out of ERS, so he is holding on the skin of his teeth here from Crossy, who has a fair bit in the bank and will want to get past when he can. And the problem is, and we saw it with our contrast, is you want to get past here, but there's just not a good spot. You have to send it so deep. Crossy got a penalty there for going wide on the ripple strip a couple of corners beforehand, I think. But what I was saying is you need to send it quite deep, and that can be problematic in terms of the guy in front knowing that you're coming and leaving room for everyone to not crash. Let's see what happens down this straight now. Miku's not close enough, but Plebs is close enough to Crossy, and he has the DRS. He's going to go on the outside. Crossy defending very much. The inside. Oh, and he's hit the curb. Lucky to hold on to that one. Crossy very lucky to hold on to that one. A very hard go over the curb there. I don't think he expected the front end to slide out like that, and he had a little look but not able to take back over from Plebs, and Plebs has got him there, and he's up into fourth now, and he'll try and hunt down Toddster. But Crossy's lost out in the last 2 laps, that's for sure. Now down a spot from where he started. He might switch to, let's go with none. But very patient here at the front. Let's switch to the front. We've got Chapelele, Miku, very patient. Still that half a second behind, not letting him go anywhere. And this battle looks like it's going to go on for the entire race. Who's going to blink first and come in? And it does look like that Pete came in very early, but now Chapelele, he's the one that's blinked. That's what we were talking about. He is pitted, so let's see where he comes out in proximity to Pete. Rossi's in the pits as well. He's had enough of those tyres after getting overtaken twice. And here comes Pete. Down the final straight. Chapelele coming out of the pits. There he is there on the right hand screen side of your television screens. They're going to come out very close here. This is going to be close. Who's going to have this lead? And it's Pete. He's undercut him just. But he's going to be under pressure. His tyres are 4 or 5 seconds older. So he could be under immediate pressure from Chapelele here. Plebs are still very close to hot start. And Crossy, you got overtaken a couple of times. He's come out about 5 seconds behind Chapelele, so he's still losing time. A lot of time, in fact, to those front three drivers. And Todster's in the pits now, and Plebs has kept on going. So a lot of different strategies here, and a lot of guys coming in to the pits at different times, so that's going to make it interesting later on in the race. As to those tyre choices, when they come out and when those tyres drop off. And Chapelele still harassing Pete, but at the moment Pete has the upper hand. He's been able to hold on for most of this lap. Jopalainen cruising around on the medium tyres. Is he going to be able to do something special near the end of this race? And Miku is still out on the softs. He didn't pit again. He's trying to make these last as long as possible. Quite comfortable to keep going. He must have, as Vettel would say, peachy tyres at the moment. And that's it. He's had enough. He's coming in. A little bit of debris in the background there. That must be where one of our did not finish drivers hit the wall, and I think that might have been Swaggy based on where we think he was on the track when he did not finish. And we go right to the end of the pits where the Williams pit garage is. We put on the mediums, and let's see where he comes out in comparison to Pete and Chapelele, who have been having a little bit of a battle. They're still battling, in fact. Chapelele right behind Pete. And where is Miku going to come out? He's too far behind, I think. He's lost out a little bit there. And Chapelele is going to make a move here. And we get a bad camera angle there. Sorry. Oh, he's going around. He's going around. He hasn't been able to hold on to it. And he is stuck. And he is now getting himself back onto the track. He's not out of the race, that's for sure. But it's going to make it hard. And we just got such a bad camera angle from the production team there. We sort of missed that, which is unfortunate. We were trying to get a better angle of both of the cars, and as we were flicking between those camera angles, we did see the end of Chapelele spinning around. That's our pole sitter, and been in control for most of this race, is now in all sorts, as he's going to have to make this time up. He's now behind Crossy, down in 7th, and Todster has got past Pete. Does he have an issue? It looks like he may have an issue here. You got all sorts. I've lost total control of this race. Miku, I'd say he's in the lead of the race now, as Pete is having extreme difficulty. It doesn't look like he has damage from that contact with Chapelele, but he's struggling to keep it on the track, so maybe he does. Maybe there was contact between them. It looked like that was side by side though, so I can't see if there'd be... Yeah, he's really struggling. He must have front wing damage of some description, or even a puncture maybe. We'll have to wait and find out after the race, but his bit can barely get it around the track, so it doesn't look like he has a red wing because there's still the whole thing's intact. In fact, Dr. Dre is catching up to him here, and And if he had this much damage, why didn't he duck into the pits beforehand? We're just not sure, but this has fallen into the hands of Miku, who now has quite a commanding lead. He's only 6 seconds beyond Jumpalainen, who's yet to pit. And Todster is 4.2 seconds behind him. Plebs has lost out on that pit strategy, although it might come back to him later as he pit later than the others, and they've made time on him there. He's right behind Crossy. Let's stick with these two at the moment. And Pete is out. Pete's out. He's gone into the pits and he is out. We now only have 6, and this is almost like a death race with who can last to the end, because we've only got 6 races left and we're just gonna have to wait and see. And only 6 left. Dre, this is working out quite well for Dre, who's on the hard, still going. That one-stop strategy, getting himself around. But Plebs is still behind Crossy here. Pressure tyres, that's for sure. Let's bring up the tyre details and see how old they are. The Jumpalainen is a 19-lap old mediums. He's a bit looking to come in soon, depending on what strategy he's looking for. He can take care of the tyres, as we've seen in previous races. 3-second penalty for Todster. But we're going to stay with this battle. It's the closest one on track, and it's between Plebs and Crossy. And Crossy got the undercut on him after losing the position. On the softs, it didn't look like he was loving as they were falling off a cliff, and he lost a couple of positions to Todster and Plebs, but he's made one of them back up in the pits by going under the mediums a lap or 2 early before Plebs, in fact 3 laps, as Crossy's are 5 laps old and Plebs are only 2 laps old. And I've just left the telemetry up there in the bottom right hand corner just so we can see everyone's ERS rates, and everyone's quite conservative at the moment. Long race, we have 16 laps left. The real story is going to be where Jumpalainen comes out, as he has now jumped into the pits. What tyres is he putting on? I don't think Plebs are going to be close enough to get a jump on Crossy down this straight. We'll keep an eye on the splits though. And Jumpalainen is now on the softs. He's going to make those go to the end, the one stopper. And we're going to be watching to see how quickly he can catch up. He's 6.5 seconds at the moment. Probably going to be more by the time he gets out of the pits. It's just ducked down. Yeah, 7.6. We'll wait and see how far away he is, and we'll keep an eye on that, as Plebs is very close to the back of Crossy. But we'll keep an eye on Jumpalainen's time and how quickly he can catch the others, and if he's going to have enough of those softs left at the end to make a real difference and maybe get on this podium. He's currently in 5th. 7.5. He's already made up half a second, so he's definitely quicker than these guys. Can he get himself on the podium? Currently it's Crossy who's under pressure from Plebs, and it looks like they're catching up to Todster in fact. But this whole race has just fallen into the lap of Miku, who would love to take a win here in Brazil. Felt he should have been on pole, made a few mistakes in his pole lap. Can he take it home in the Williams, get a valuable win for Williams? And if we're talking about the championship, the story here is also Plebs and Jumpalainen. Now with our contrast out, he won't be making it interesting at the end, but the two that will are Plebs and Jumpalainen, and how close they are at the end of this race points wise, and to what can happen in Abu Dhabi next week. See Crossy just bringing up a little bit of dirt and grass. But these are the closest 2 cars on track. Plebs really struggling. And a just viewing in the driver chat before, it looks like Plebs doesn't have the setup he would have liked for this race, so he's battling the car a little bit. Not really an excuse, but just some information for everyone at home. As we come around another lap, Jumpalainen setting a fastest lap, so he is coming down to 6.3 now. So by the look of that, he's making up about half a second to a second a lap. So around lap 30, we're going to see the Haas in the revision mirror of the Renault. But the story will be is the quality of both of these tyres at the end of the race. Speed-wise, a lot of these drivers are very close to each other. And often it can be when you pit and what you have left in your tyres, and even your driving style as to what you've got left near the end of the race straight. Still going around 22 laps on those hards. But your driving style can have a big impact, and I think people underestimate how much driving style has an impact on your tyres, and it's one of the parts of the game that's really well done by Codemasters is how hard you thrash those tyres definitely has an impact, and in these 50% to 100% races, they do make a large difference. Plebs has been doing a lot of driving today. He managed to take out the Racing Series Championships for Race Spec, battling the European Racing Series. That was this morning, and that's a 100% race, so definitely put some kilometers into his sim gear just today, that's for sure. And these two have caught up to Todster. In fact, they're right on the gearbox now of Todster, so this is going to be interesting. And Miku is pulling away. I don't think they'll be able to catch Miku, but the fight for second is well and truly alive. Jumpalainen down to 4.8 second gap now, so he's definitely going to catch up. And he's going to make it interesting. So these four are going to battle for those two positions on the podium. And let me know in the comments who you think is going to end up on the podium. We still have 11 laps left. I'd like to see some predictions, that's for sure. And I'm liking what Jumpalainen's doing here, although he hasn't made ground yet this lap. But Crossy's got past Todster, and his Pleb's going to get past Todster as well here. Has a look, he's right up the back, very close. We'll stay in with Plebs here as they come through. Is he going to have a look? No, shuts the door. The McLaren has shut the door on that one, and now Plebs has to bide his time, not get too anxious, not try and make a dive where there isn't one, and give himself a final score of 0. So through this tricky, patient part of the track, you can't try and overdrive the car through here, you'll lose yourself so much time. And as you got a little wide there, but you want to get a good exit here, and does he have a good enough exit? The problem is Todster still has DRS from Crossy, so he's not going to get the benefit of that, and I can't see him overtaking him down this straight. And he's a bit at the mercy of Crossy here because he needs that DRS when Todster doesn't have it. And it is one of the issues with DRS when you're relying on a system like that to give the cars overtaking potential. And you can get yourself stuck in a train where no one can pass each other. Chris in the chat, Jumpalainen for a podium and Plebs, so he's putting his faith in our championship contenders. R4 Racing has dropped in with a prediction of Miku, Crossy for P2 and Jumpalainen for P3. So they're loving what Jumpalainen's putting in here. He's put a reverse special on us again, and he is now only 3.2 seconds behind these three that are battling it out at the moment. Crossy's driving quite well here, just keeping Todster at bay. But he's forming a little bit of a train, and that's giving Jumpalainen a great chance to get himself on the podium. Only 3.1 seconds now. And we'll switch to Jumpalainen's view. And you can't see the cars in front of him yet, but he has to be knowing that he is not too far away. stuck on that 3-second gap mark at the moment. As Todster's gone very wide on that corner, and Plebs is going to take advantage, and Todster has to back out there as Plebs was over car length, half a car length in front, and Plebs has taken that position. And just had little mistakes, and this track is notorious for it. You make a little bit of mistake, you go a little bit too deep, and you will pay for it. As Dre is into the pits now, he'll be switching to his soft tyres. He might be able to get himself a point with the fastest lap, an extra point that is, as he will be in the top 6. And Todster's trying to make up for that mistake and possibly overdriving a little bit there going under the grass, but jump a line and he can see him now, 2 seconds. And yeah, as you can see, his viewpoint is caught up to the back, and that will be giving him great hope. And he has the laps to do it, 9 laps left. Let's give our race leader Miku some love in the Williams, as see the onboard camera there. Right out in front now, 7.8 second gap to Miku, who has driven a very nice race today. Great qualifying, and he's kept it together in the race. Taking advantage of some other errors from other drivers, but you've got to keep it on the track yourself, and he's certainly done that, and at a quick pace as well. As we go back to our battle now, Plebs still behind Crossy, biding his time. But you want to get this move done sooner rather than later. Crossy's the one with the oldest tyres here, so Pleb's tyres are 3 laps younger, a little bit fresher. And Todster's just dropping off a little bit here now, but is Pleb's going to get this done? He's close enough. He's got the DRS. No, has a little look, not quite. Maybe if he can keep close enough down these center S's, he'll be able to get it down the next DRS zone, which is down this straight. And jump a line in just 2 seconds. He can't quite get close enough at the moment. Hasn't made that gap, and no, Plebs is going to have to wait for another opportunity to present itself as another lap goes by. Lap 29 of 36 of this Brazilian Grand Prix. And Crossy's starting to hold a few up now as Todster's got himself back onto the Renault. And jump a line in 1.3 seconds. Now what Jompalainen's got to do is work out when and where he's going to make his move. Those tyres aren't too bad, 8 laps. I'll have a bit of wear on them now. Is he going to have enough juice in them to get some overtakes done and get himself on the podium? And his first target is Todster. And the other problem that he has is, I was talking about it before, is this DRS train. He's going to find it hard to get an overtake. He's going to rely on that extra speed those tyres are giving him. But he'll be in dirty air now, that's for sure. He's in DRS. He's going to stick with them. But it's hard to overtake when everyone has the DRS. It's sort of up to Plebs to get past Crossy here. And another 3-second penalty. And that's something else we have to talk about, is who has penalties. I know Crossy's got 2, so he might have to be on 6. I'm not sure on Todster. Plebs often doesn't have many at all, if any, and I haven't seen Jompalainen get one yet either, so Crossy's a bit rich for the picking here, as we've seen his name pop up a couple of times. And this battle's going to get hot now with 6 laps left. Who is going to put it on the line? As Dre gets his penalty. And here we go, Plebs down the outside. Crossy's going to make him work for it. Leaves him space. Good racing between those two. Hard racing. And Plebs gets it done. So because Crossy had to defend so hard on the inside, it gave him the worst corner on the third corner. And Plebs was able to hold that inside line. As it looks like Jumpalainen's made a move as well. Jumpalainen, oh, there's contact. He got himself out of shape coming out of that corner. There is contact. He's held onto it. Lives to fight another day. Just lost a little bit of traction there. Went for an ambitious move, but he knows there's 5 laps left. He needs to get something done so he can get himself on the podium. And it's starting to heat up. It's getting very spicy between these 4 now, as Plebs is going to try and gap Crossy. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. As I said, the DRS is quite powerful on these 2 straights here in Brazil. Keeps everyone nice and close. Often doesn't make it too easy to pass though. As we come up, that's the penultimate corner. And that's the ultimate corner. And here we go, down into the straight. Is anyone close enough to get a move done? Jumpalainen's going to have to catch back up after his little scare there. So it's probably going to take him a lap to do that, which is it's running out of laps. At the moment, the clock is ticking on Jumpalainen's podium push. Crossy, is he going to be close enough? He needs to keep himself right up there so that when you come around that second last corner, get a nice exit and he can use that DRS to his advantage. It's not beyond him. Definitely not beyond him here. His tyres are a little bit older, but DRS should overcome that gap and battle that he has going on. And I'm just wondering how much is left in those softs of Jumpalainen. They should be dropping off soon. Not off a cliff, but making it a little bit more difficult. Depends how much he tore out of them to catch up to this pack. As Crossy, here we go. Looks like he's got quite a good exit. He's 0.4 behind at the start of this straight. Go on board and let's see how close he actually is. For the DRS, Plebs staying to the inside, now to the outside to make it a little bit difficult. I don't think he's close enough here. No, not close enough. Can he get a better exit out of here? No. Plebs a little bit smoother there, and it'd be difficult with the choppy aero coming off the car in front. And he does get the DRS, but all that's going to do is keep him within striking distance. Jumpalainen very close. Todd start, and I think he'll be having a look at the next straight as well. The lap 33 or 36. Who is going to get themselves on the podium, give themselves the opportunity for the shoey? That's the question we're all asking ourselves at the moment. Such a train behind Plebs here, and who is close enough? Todd Start's still going to have DRS, so it's not going to be easy for Jumpalainen to get past him here. Oh, he's gone off. Plebs has lost it coming around that final corner, so he's out of contention now. And it looks like just too much wheel spin coming out of it, and that's given Todd Start the opportunity on Crossy, because Crossy may have had to take evasive action, and Todster's going to get himself a look around the outside. Not quite. That's going to give Jumpalainen a look as well. And it looked like Plebs just dropped it, accelerating out of that second last corner. But they're all so close to each other now, and the pressure's getting to them. They're on old tyres, everything's getting a little bit slippy. And what's Jumpalainen doing? He's going to try and go on the outside, and he's just pushed too hard there as well, and he's got damage. So now it's Crossy and Todd Start. Jumpalainen went too hard trying to go around the outside. He still had a couple of laps left to get a move done. He's got wing damage, and Plebs might be able to get him, and this could be important for the championship. He's going to come second in the championship. If Plebs can catch up, get past Jumpalainen with that damage. Let's go back to these two. Crossy just needs to keep it together for the next couple of laps. As Toddster, where was the detection point? I'm not 100% sure where the detection point is in Brazil. Does Toddster? He does have the wing open, so he was close enough there. And he will catch himself back up to the Toro Rosso and stay within striking distance. It looks like Plebs is still 3.6 seconds behind Jumpalainen, so it depends how significant the damage is on that Haas. But it could be important for the championship next week in Abu Dhabi. the battle between those two, and that's just the devastating thing for John Polina. If he had grabbed a bag of points there, would have made it real interesting. But it looks like Crossy fairly consistent today. Came in a little early, got himself back up with the group after being overtaken, kept his head, and he's might be able to keep himself on the podium here. It'll be whether these two make any mistakes, but it looks like they're going to get themselves on the podium. Miku, let's not take anything away from Miku. Fantastic drive today. You haven't seen as much of him, but sometimes that's a blessing when you're out in front enough that the producers won't put you on the tally. There's a final lap here between Crossy and Toddstar for who will come second, but it's Miku with that 10-second gap. As long as he doesn't make any crazy mistakes, he's going to take this race. And Jumpline and Plebs are going to hold their positions. And are we going to see a drag? A drag on the final straight to see who gets second. Is that what we're going to see today? That would really cap this race off nicely. I want to make sure we get Miku crossing the finish line. Well-deserved win here today from the Rocket Williams driver as he's coming around the final corners. And a round of applause for Miku. Great race. Took advantage of everyone else's mistakes, but he had the pace anyway. He would have been up there battling whether they made mistakes or not. And a great win there for Miku, just putting it into the wall. A bit more work for his engineers. Is Todster close enough? I don't think so. Crossy's going to take this one. He's going to take second. And third for Toddstar. John Polainen is the next across the line after that error. Ambitious, going wide. Trying to go around the outside. And due to penalties, John Polainen is third and gets himself on the podium. And is that Crossy who's dropped off? Let's have a look. It is Crossy who's dropped off because of penalties. It could be a cruel game, this one. There's Miku with the win. We'll bring up penalties in a minute to see. But very cruel. A great race, but sometimes you have got to keep it on the black stuff and keep those penalties down to a minimum. They could cost you, especially in such a close race like this today. 6-second penalties from Crossy. Todster holds on. John Polainen gets third, so some good points for John Polainen there. We'll have to check the standings next week, but I will see you in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll definitely see you next week for the final race of the PS4 Elite Series. You've been watching Race Spec Esports.